Tables in Dreamweaver. Tables in Dreamweaver. Uh, Table is a way of page layout, a way of making web layouts. The layout means the divisions, the construction of a page. Okay? You have to imagine your page content inside a table. For example, the page we view now, it may include a table, the container table consisting of the first row that carries the page banner, including the logo and any other graphical materials. The second row to include the horizontal navigation bar with the pop-up menus, as you see. A third row to include all the coming materials starting from this image to the end of the page. So we have 3 rows. The third one that includes the most of the content is divided to 2 columns. Can we make that inside Dreamweaver? Let's come to Dreamweaver. You have to follow the steps if you please. I will keep the reference page, the true page of that one tracks underscore visual, and I'm going to create the new one to go with the steps to construct the page using tables. This number 1. Create the new document please as HTML, then press or click the create button. You have the page created. As a reference, we can know the size of our page from the container table. For that page, the table is 760 width, 760 pixels. This should be dependent on the screen size, the user's screen resolution. Okay? This can fit the 800 by 600 pixels. In your page, your new document, insert a table. You can insert a table from the insert menu, table, or Ctrl-Alt-T. Also, you can click that button to insert a table. Regarding the table options, when you insert the table, you are asked to define number of rows that you should decide previously. Okay? Number of rows for our page is 3. So please enter 3. For the columns, for now it should be 1. 3 rows, 1 column. Okay? For the table width, in that page, we will make it 760. 760. Of course, you have to enter your table in your site according to your dimensions. That may be 980, 955. Okay. Table width is 760. And this is an important option to decide. You want your table width to be in pixels or in percent. What is the difference? If you created your table in pixels, this means no. No. It's not like resolution. Resolution, of course, refers to the quality and details. For now, and it's measured in pixels. For now, pixels refer to something else. What is it? It refers to the absolute page width. There is absolute and relative. What is the absolute and what is the relative? Exactly. When I set my table's width, my page width to 760 pixels, it should be every time 760. Whatever the computer, the user's computer is set to 800 by 600 pixels dimensions or more. So you have to expect, if your page is displayed on the 800 by 600, it should fit 760. That seems to be full screen size. If displayed in another user's monitor, higher resolution, for example 1024, it will remain absolute 760. That means it should display narrower, smaller in that user's screen. This is the absolute. The different type is relative, and we can decide in some webs to have our web relative. If I decide the width in percent, percent means relative. So if you choose the percent, you can enter, for example, 80%, 90%. 90% means it's not a fixed pixel numbers. It should be 90% of the screen. If the screen is small, it's 90% of the screen. If the screen size is large, it's 90% of the screen. You know the difference? You can expect a question about that in the exam. Okay? For now, we will decide the table's width in pixels 760. Here you can decide some more options for the table. If you need for a border, this should be the thickness. Cell padding and cell spacing we will detect now. Okay? You can leave the remaining to the default and click OK. Now you have the table created. We have started our page construction. The table, the container table. After, how to control, how to modify the table so as to fit your content. Of course, you have planned your site, your design, your layout in Photoshop. Of course, you know the sizes of the different elements. Of course, you can know, if you want, any image dimensions from Photoshop. And it's very simple. Using the selection, if you select an item, the banner, for example, that image, for example, you can know from the info how many pixels is it. Okay? For now, in this sample page, we have the banner, page banner. That is a flash element. It is that one. The dimensions is 760 by 65. According to my layout, the page banner should be 760 by 65. This is mine. This is the sample. Okay? Can I decide the first row of my table to be in that dimension? Simply, you can change the table's dimensions. You can manually drag this border to increase, to enlarge the height of a row manually. When I made that, you can now watch the H option in the properties panel. Okay? Okay? You can manually drag to adjust, or by default it's automatically extended when you insert the content. But for accuracy, I will define it myself to be the 65 and enter. It's now fitting. It should fit my banner's content. Okay? Okay. The second one, for the horizontal navigation bar. That one. What is the height? It's 24. Of course, you can know about that from your Photoshop screens. What is the height of my navigation bar? It's 24, for example, and you can now set the second row to be 24. This is standard. Usually used this figure for the banners, 24 pixels. Okay? Yes, please follow the steps. Now you have the second row in 24 pixels high. The third one should extend dependent on the content. Okay? Don't care about it, but we want to divide vertically or horizontally for the columns. Can we divide this row? How to divide it? When you click the last row, click inside. Click, just click. No double click, even you don't need. Just click inside. Here you can find the split cells into rows or columns. Split. Click it, and you can choose rows or columns. Choose the columns and 2. Number of columns 2. Okay? It will be divided in equal parts. And in the same way, you can decide the first column's width. For how many pixels? You can review your screen design. It should be in this dimension, the dimension of the image. For example, the width should be 158. It's okay. Let's come to this one and make the width 158. Enter. It's user defined width. I think it's now easy to construct your page layout using a table that can include your contents. Okay? For the table, you can format. You can format a table. What can we find here? In the final web, in the final layout. Here is a page background. Okay? We will know how to define an image to repeat to tile in the background, but for the table there is more things we have to learn about it. How to color, for example, this row. As you see, and the effect on the formatted elements. For a lot of lines like this information, it's better to mark one row with a background and to leave the next one in a different color. This is easy to follow the information. How to give colors for table rows? It's simple. Simply, when you come to this row, click inside the row and choose BG color. When you choose the color, should be assigned to that table row. If you want to assign a color for the whole table, you should select the table in this way. If you click the border, so it's now the table selected. Or you can click the table in the tag selector bar, as I explained before. This part is tag selector. this part is tag selector. You can use to select the different tags, tr, t-row, table row, for example, or you can select the whole table. When you have the table selected, you can choose BG color that should apply for the whole table. The whole table. And what about the table border, cell padding, and cell spacing? The table border is this one. It's now 0. If you set to 1, 3, 10, it should be the border's width, as you see. Make it 0 again, please. What about the cell pad and cell space? As you know, the table consists of cells. And the space between cells is this area. When we set the cell space to 5, for example, should leave a space between the cells. This is the cell spacing. What about the cell padding? When we have a content here, as you see, it's starting from the edge directly at the 0 pixel. The same if you have an image. The content is an image. It should start with the edge. But when you set, where is the cell padding now? Where is the cell space? You should select the table first. And you can find it. Set the table pad to 5. What did you find with the content? It's now shifted to leave 5 pixels from the edge. So the cell pad is the margin, is the space between the table cell and the content. Okay? These are important options for the table. The last option we can know for now is the align. Can we test this page when we save, for example? Quickly, we can save it here. I can name it running tables in the same folder. To test in a browser, I will preview in the browser. How can you find the table? It's left aligned. This is the default alignment for HTML tables. But you can align center when you select the table from the properties, choose the align center, save, and display again, preview again. It's now center, as you see. Okay?